Faculty, distinguished guests, and my friends. The sentiment that is surging uppermost in my heart is one of profound gratitude. Gratitude to each of you for freeing yourself to be present here this evening to make our joy full. So thanks to each of you. Dear Larry, ever since you heard the book was launched, a book was released, you wanted to have this book launched here in Australia. And Larry had been preparing to that, however he always postponed it. Now I realize what was at the back of his mind. He wanted to have the presence of Father Superior General. So Father General, it is great of you to be present with us this evening. Now, Father Larry, for him, organization and planning is something that he is born with. Hospitality is connatural to him. Encouraging and appreciating others is inbuilt in him. All this explain the function this evening. So thank you, Larry. Larry asked me also to say something about the writing of the book. You know, though I look very young, I was retiring from the Pontifical Athenaeum at the age of 65, and then I was entitled to have a sabbatical. So I decided to take a sabbatical, and that time I thought, why not I put my major thinking in mission into a book form. In this I was also challenged by the remarks I constantly received, the dialogue rather, which was constantly going on ever since 1986 from Rome. Yeah. Of course, Jim Knight is responsible for that. Because we will come back to that. So, I must have mentioned Jim. It was Jim who was actually responsible for my theologizing, I must say. As he already mentioned, I don't know whether he suggested me or so. At that time, the General Father Henry Heckeren told me, look, Jim has started something in Australia, and now Jim is going to make that Asia-wide, and therefore, someone must keep the light burning, keep the light burning. So I was planning to go to Kenya as the biblical coordinator in Kenya and Africa. The society had just taken Kenya at that time in 84. But Father General, then General, asked me, this is the need, so would you go? Then of course I said, yeah, my first choice at the time of taking the vows was wherever the society wants me. So I have no escape, I said. So that is how I came here. And then Jim began to introduce me. First of all, he asked me for the first staff seminar. That was to be presented. At that time, there were some 7 or 8 Dominicans teaching here, the big Dominican professors, and the Redemptorists, the Carmelites, and there were at least some Marian Convoy, and many others. Yeah? So, in front of them all, about 25 big guns, he asked me to prepare a paper. So I said, okay, if you say. So that was my first major theological paper, Opening to the Whole Christ. Yeah. Then later for some theology, Asia Pacific Education and Research. Then again Jim asked me, you should present the leading paper. There I wrote the Abba Experience of Jesus Model and Motive for Mission Today. And that was published in the FABC paper. And then, of course, FABC paper is an official paper of the Asian bishops. So somebody wrote to Rome. Here is a man who is saying salvation is not the motive, but the Abba experience of Jesus is the model and motive for mission today. We can understand what is implied in the whole title. So from then onwards, I am in trouble. So that's what I said. She is responsible for this. Anyway, so so thank him. He had been truly my mentor, I must say. Even later as well, he had been encouraging me to write and to present papers and so on. So I am very grateful to him for what I am. Then coming back to return to the writing of the book, so I wanted to put in a little more systematic way my thoughts. I thought of writing this book. And so of course I got the right ambience in the United States. Steve Evans invited me as the Divine Word Missionary, what is called, Scholar in Residence program, which of course, as far as I am concerned, would take care of my flight charge and my stay and board and lodge. Yeah? So, because the Athenaeum where I was teaching, they would not give me any money. They only gave me the permission to be out for a semester. So that gave me, and I have written this book. And in this, I have, of course, expressed further, in the last synod, our general, Tony, in one of his interventions, he said, the religious today are the hearing aids to the world of today. Same way, it was picked up by several papers, that is in the Catholic papers in India, I read about that. Similarly, I have come to realize that every Christian is a theologos, yeah? And why? Because the first time the word was used by no other person than Philo. Philo was the one to use it in the context of Moses. He said Moses was the theologos. And of course, truly speaking, Jesus Christ is the par excellence theologos. But each baptized Christian is a continuation of Jesus' mission and ministry. Therefore, every Christian is a theologos. So therefore, for me, theologizing is not a career, means to career, not a means to fame and name, but it is the expression of my discipleship. In that context, what I am convinced to be said, that Jesus and the gospel is asking us today to be said, in the spirit, the true spirit of Jesus, has to be said. Yeah? It is with that spirit that I have written the book. Yeah? That we are God's word in God's world today. Yeah? It is God's word, but yet we have a specific mission. And that because we are God's word. Yeah? So, both sides balance. God's word in God's world today. As to the rest, how this has to be realized, I recommend that you read the book. Once again, I thank you all. I do not want you to keep in this hot atmosphere here long, because we have some more interesting items waiting. Yeah? So God bless you all.